Well, guys, we've officially kicked off the 2023 year of Star Wars with Bad Batch. What Easter eggs did we find, and what did we think of the first 2 episodes of Season 2? Find out today on Fatherly Fandom. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of our videos, please like our content and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out and gives us the opportunity of creating more content for you. Okay, let's dive into it. Let's start with Episode 1, Spoils of War, directed by Stuart Lee and written by Jennifer Corbett. Now, I absolutely love the first episode of Season 1 and how it gave us a different perspective of Order 66. While this episode doesn't give us a major event like that, with established characters, we dive right into the story with Clone Force 99 on a mission from Sid. Immediately, I noticed Omega looked a little older this time around, so it tells us right away that some time has passed between Season 1 and Season 2 of Bad Batch. One of the things I found jarring about Andor was the fact that we had a large cast of new characters and new worlds to learn. Right away with Bad Batch, we have all the familiar characters of Hunter, Echo, Wrecker, Tech, and of course Omega. Then we get the first cameo of the season with Phee Genoa, played by Wanda Sykes, who is a pirate who contracts with Sid. We learn that there's an Imperial operation hauling away large quantities of goods from Sereno. Of course, we get to see a familiar white Mandalorian helmet in Sid's office. This can actually be seen in the first season too. But if you don't know, this is a direct homage to the prototype suit that eventually became Boba Fett's armor in The Empire Strikes Back. Originally, it was going to be used for an elite group of stormtroopers, with the armor being all white, but was retooled and repainted into what we see Boba Fett wear in Episode 5. Speaking of Boba Fett, do you think we'll see him show up in this season of Bad Batch? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Once again, the show anchors us in the familiar with centering the plot around Sereno. Sereno is Count Dooku's homeworld and is located in the Outer Rim. It was visited many times in Clone Wars, and we get to see more of the Empire destroying worlds and taking what they want. When the Bad Batch arrives at Sereno, seeing what the Empire's bombers have done to the city, it made me recall the Night of a Thousand Tears, which saw the planet of Mandalore heavily bombed. This takes place years after the events of Bad Batch. It's really cool to get to see the Empire identify planets for their resources and exploit them for all they had. This can be seen in Rogue One on Jedha, and was also seen in the book Ahsoka on the planet Thebesco, which was targeted by the Empire for its resources. We also get to see some familiar cargo ships hauling containers away from Dooku's home. Those cargo ships were seen in Rebels in the episode The Forgotten Droid. I think they have a really cool design, and this is a perfect use of that craft. One of the things I loved about the episode was some of the practicality. When Tech and Omega were in the cargo ship, jettisoned all the escape pods. This seemed like a logical response and made our protagonists think outside the box, or rather inside the cargo box to escape. We also get to see the clone troopers in full use on Sereno. And I love the fact that Clone Force 99 was exclusively using the stun feature to incapacitate the clone troopers. This stun feature was first used in the original Star Wars by a stormtrooper to capture Princess Leia on the Tantive 4. All in all, I really did enjoy the first episode, and for my rating, I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. I'm excited, I'm invested, and I can't wait to see more. The timing of the show is perfect, and I find the short runtime is just enough for the story being told. Now let's dive into Episode 2, titled Ruins of War, directed by Nathaniel Villanueva and written by Gina Lucetta Monreal. This episode splits up our heroes, and we get to have a very personal story on the backdrop of the Bad Batch trying to regroup and escape from the Empire on Sereno. They actually give us an on-the-ground perspective with an older Serenian man that Echo, Tech, and Omega meet along the way, and we get a real connection and understanding between Tech and the Serenian man. It was really fun to get to see Tech think differently about the people of Sereno after talking to him and helping him fix his historical database. I love that we are getting to see the individual mindsets of the Bad Batch. We see that Echo feels they should be doing more to fight against the Empire. We see Hunter wishing to be done with all of it and find a way for his family to leave it all behind. We also see Omega as she feels guilt over thinking that she is the reason the Bad Batch are in this mess to begin with. And as any kid would do, she sneaks off to try to recoup the treasure from the war chest because she feels she owes it to her friends. It all culminates with the protagonists working out their issues and overcoming. So while they didn't get the loot at the end of the episode, the characters came out of Sereno different than when they arrived. With the Clone Wars ending only a short time ago, I found it made sense that Sereno would have leftover warcraft. We get to see a couple of Separatist armored assault craft here, which we saw throughout Clone Wars and in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I love that Wrecker pulled out a cannon and used it like a massive gun. And in this episode, we see how Imperial officers are trying to cut corners and maybe get a glimpse of why the clone troopers are eventually phased out. While I found that the clone troopers were extremely capable in this episode and downright dangerous to our heroes, the fact that they have a sense of duty and honor doesn't work well in the corrupt system that tends to bend the rules from time to time. This definitely comes into effect when the Imperial officer asks the clone commander to revise his report to exclude the Clone Force 99. Now, the commander didn't want to do this. He didn't want to change his report, so what does the Imperial officer do? He shoots them, showing us how disposable the clones are to the Empire and how their rigid code may be incompatible with the Empire. I absolutely enjoyed this episode, and I'm excited to see more next week. So for my rating, I'm going to give episode 2 an 8 out of 10. We got good character beats with all the main characters and an intriguing story. So that's my thoughts and some of the Easter eggs I found on Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2. Thanks for joining me on this video here at Fatherly Fandom, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and as always, from our families to yours, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.